Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thanks for coming. It is my name is Bob Pratt. I'm on the board of directors of the NDPA. It is my extreme pleasure to introduce my partner in crime at the Great Lakes Surf Rescue Project. David Benjamin had a non-fatal drowning the day after Christmas. You know, you need to think about that for just a second. He was surfing in Lake Michigan, in the south end of Lake Michigan. Yes, there's surf in Lake Michigan, and yes, we go surfing in the winter time, the day after Christmas, in Lake Michigan. And it was a very impactful event for him, and since then he has become a huge driving force for drowning prevention in the Great Lakes region. He and I co-founded the Great Lakes Surf Rescue Project. Dave works tirelessly, mostly behind the scenes, arranging for the events to happen since 2010. Well, let me tell you the four things that the Great Lakes Surf Rescue Project does. One is that we track drownings that happen on the Great Lakes. We're the only organization that does track drownings on the Great Lakes. You would think that in the digital age, all that information would be close at hand, but it really isn't, simply because of the way that things are compiled. So we track drownings that happen on the Great Lakes. Since 2010, there have been more than 540 fatal drownings on the 5 Great Lakes. Half of those happen in Lake Michigan. So we track the drownings that happen on the Great Lakes. We provide education for a wide range of audiences. We do elementary school programs, junior high school programs, high school programs. We'll present to police and fire agencies. We'll present to basically anybody that will listen. We will provide education for them. We also do lifeguard education. Surf lifeguard training is something that doesn't really happen on the Great Lakes, and so we work really tirelessly to change that. And Dave's been instrumental in bringing in the International Surf Lifesaving Association, came and provided training for us, and we continue that training through his service programs. And then one of the most important things that we do is work with families who have lost loved ones. And this is probably the hardest thing that we do. And Dave is very, very good at it. And Dave, in the result of going through this process, has identified these problems that we have with things like social media and other stigmas that are with drowning. So he's going to address that issue today. So it's my pleasure to introduce Dave Benjamin from the Great Lakes Surf Rescue Project.
Thank you, Bob. Bob just did about 1/4 of my presentation, but that's okay. My presentation is called Compassionately Addressing the Stigma of Drowning. And it's a very sensitive topic, and one that I don't see gets addressed enough. I do want to give a disclaimer. The presentation is based on my experiences and opinions. I'm open to constructive criticism, discovery, exploration, debate. I've been doing this for 6 years with Bob Pratt, and I'll talk a little bit about our work. It's just kind of, I've seen like an ongoing theme, a reoccurring issue that's been happening, and we call it the stigma of drowning. I'm here today because I said I'd be here today. I'm here today because I survived a drowning accident, and in the process of drowning and on the process of self-rescue, I made one of those, looking up in the air, floating, breathing and thinking, I'll make it count. I'm really not religious, maybe more superstitious, and since my drowning accident, it's been water safety top priority with everything I do. We attended a conference hosted by another nonprofit called Because I Said I Would. They have these promise cards. It just says, because I said I would, in the bottom corner. People put their promises on there. Like, I will quit smoking because I said I would. I will not text and drive because I said I would. And I put, I will dedicate my life to water safety and create a water safety school curriculum. Okay, it really put me on the hook. At the conference, they had a bunch of conference rooms with video crews. You can go and tell your story. And they taped it, and they selected mine. John and Kathy were also at this conference, and they taped a video, and their video was selected as well to be produced by this nonprofit. In my video, it explains my drowning accident and the drowning epidemic, the need for a water safety school curriculum. John and Kathy's video tells about the loss of their son in a rip current in Lake Michigan. They're both on our website, and I'll give you additional avenues to find it at the end of the presentation. So, the Great Lakes Surf Rescue Project, as Bob said, we do, actually it's kind of like 5 areas, but one's overlapping. We track the drownings in the Great Lakes, we teach Great Lakes water safety, we work with family and friends of drowning victims to advocate water safety. We also do open water surf lifeguard training and first responder water rescue, water resuscitation training. So for tracking the drownings in the Great Lakes, between 2010 and 2015, there's a total of 536 drownings in the Great Lakes. We've already got 10 this year that we're tracking. So 546 drownings since 2010. That's just the Great Lakes. We know that there's a lot more drownings happening in inland rivers, in inland lakes, other bodies of water, pools, hot tubs in the Great Lakes states. So this is really a small fraction of drowning in the Great Lakes states. And the Great Lakes is 8 states, 5 lakes, 2 countries. It is a pretty big territory that we're tracking the water for the Great Lakes. Water safety presentations, it's our biggest outreach. John and Kathy Coker so far have sponsored about 170 presentations in Illinois. They've got a full week booked in May, this May coming up, where we'll do another 40 presentations. But since 2011, we've done 363 presentations, and we'll surpass getting to 400 by June of this year. Working with family and friends of drowning victims is the hardest thing anyone can do. I acknowledge everyone being here today. Especially the family and friends of drowning victims. I mean, they are very, very courageous to step up and take on water safety after the loss that they've endured. And it's tragic, and it's also inspirational. The open water surf lifeguard training, more and more beaches are going without lifeguards in the Great Lakes. And what we found is like half of the lifeguards that are on the Great Lakes, they don't have open water surf lifeguard training. So we had Lifeguards Without Borders, Justin Semsprot, International Surf Life Saving Association, give us a 3-day, 30-hour boot camp. We did it in October in northern Michigan, in the lake. So it was a little chilly. But it was very intensive, and we take this training and we pass it on to lifeguards that we work with now in the Great Lakes. So compassionately addressing the stigma of drowning. First, we just want to look at the stigma of drowning. This is kind of like the theme that I've heard kind of all over the place. You'd be surprised. We hear it on social media posts when someone posts an article of a drowning. Someone makes these comments that are mean. Unfortunately, when a drowning happens, what we have is this public point of view to blame the victim, blame the parents or caregivers, or blame it on Darwinism. Okay? And this happens on social media posts, it happens on the TV news stories post, but it also happens in other places. Speaking with park rangers about water safety. And they unknowingly support, they may unknowingly blame the victim. We had a woman that we worked with, her and her boyfriend were on an inflatable raft, offshore wind took them out. Unfortunately, her boyfriend, Leonel Dominguez, drowned, and Evelyn Hernandez was rescued. But I was at a meeting with Coast Guard, DNR, police, fire, and the DNR was like, I was there that day. I was up on the bluff, and I was like, I just couldn't believe it. They just kept going out and out and out. He's like, I didn't understand it. And he's kind of like sort of blaming them for going out, but he didn't even realize what offshore winds were and that it pushes you out. So if you don't know, you don't know. And so it was just a light conversation saying, well, they didn't intend to go out. They got blown out. And they didn't know that the water would be cold when the boat capsized trying to swim it back in. So it's just one brief example. So just a basic definition of stigma. It's a mark of disgrace associated with a particular circumstance, a quality, an event, a person. Oops. And so the stigma again is blaming the victim, blaming the parents or caregivers, and blaming it on Darwinism. The problem with this stigma, let me back up a second. I covered it pretty in depth, the stigma of drowning, but my presentation is compassionately addressing the stigma of drowning. Because as I'm talking about the stigma of drowning, you might kind of feel it boiling up a little bit. I mean, it gets me a little ticked off, you know. I want to go have a fist fight with somebody over some stupid comment that they would make on a story. But the thing is that doesn't get any results. That just gets arguments and conflict. So looking at this, is we have to compassionately address the stigma of drowning. It's being the bigger person on the worst day of your life. And why compassion? Because compassion breeds compassion. Compassion can have results. The stigma is a two-way street. As I'm getting angry at somebody for supporting the stigma of drowning, it's something they don't know that they're doing. But then again, it's like I'm stigmatizing them, stereotyping them. So we have to be the transformation for the water safety transformation to happen. You know, originally I thought you got to be the change for the change to happen. The thing I don't like about the word change, I want to be specific with language, is there's a saying, the more you try to change, the more you stay the same. And the word transformation has got a much bigger picture to it. So like a caterpillar on a branch, it's just crawling, it's got limited mobility, limited possibility. It's got like a small world view. But when it goes from the cocoon and metamorphoses into, say, a butterfly, it's a whole new world of opportunity. A whole new view on life from that twig. It can go back to that twig, that branch, and live a life. Or it can actually go out in the world and travel hundreds of miles for a little butterfly. So just being specific to the words, creating the world of what we need to do here. Crocodile. You guys got any compassion for crocodiles? Not yet? It's kind of a, you know, a story. It's a little off topic, but it's a little on topic. It is a stigma. I keep hitting that wrong button. Jokingly say mate.match.com, because this is an 18-year-old young man who wanted to impress this young woman on vacation. She's a tourist. He's in Australia. Had 10 cups of goon juice, which when I looked it up, what's goon juice? It's box wine. You like box wine, right? I mean, I got a box in my trunk, right? So one day he drinks 10 cups of goon juice, and he's flirting with her to show her how tough he is. He jumps into a body of water inhabited with crocodiles, and almost immediately he's attacked. It starts thrashing his arm, pulling him about 20 feet, and he's punching it, and I guess he says he gouged his eyes out, or he gouged his eye, and it let him go. But his arm's mangled, the bone's coming out, but you know what? She went on a date with him. You know, so it's kind of like, you know, there's a little disconnect. But the thing is, do we have compassion for this guy? Could we ourselves easily troll him on the internet? And if you look this up, the reporter trolls him. She's like, the whole country thinks you're the dumbest person here. You know, do you understand that? And he's like, haters gonna hate. You know. But I just wanted to get an example that we can. It's a two-way street with the stigma. That we got to look at. How do we address it? How do we really make a difference? More people may be familiar with this happened in the United States. Silverback gorilla Harambe lived in a zoo. A young boy fell into the enclosure. Unfortunately, the zookeeper had to put the gorilla down, but it went viral. Everybody's all of a sudden an expert on gorilla posturing. That gorilla was not going to hurt that boy. He was protecting that boy. They should have used a tranquilizer. All of a sudden, everybody's an expert with opinions, but the thing is, a lot of people blamed the parents. Okay? I have a 7-year-old boy, he's in gymnastics, he climbs all over everything. I'm thinking, oh man, he'd be probably the first one, next one, I gotta watch him. When I go, you know, I gotta let him know you cannot climb on these things and reinforce it, because boys are can be a little more risky. So the stigma of drowning. Unfortunately, what I see across the board on many avenues is that when a drowning happens, the public point of view is to blame the victim, blame the parents or caregivers, and blame it on Darwinism. This stigma, unfortunately, creates a culture which is very sensitive for water safety. It creates a false sense of security. It creates, it can't happen to me. And I hate to say what I have to say next, but it's one of the #1 things I hear. Unfortunately, I hear it with reporters, in the media, with public officials. But there's a saying that only stupid people drown, and you can't fix stupid. And that's like the thing that sets me off the most, that I gotta stop and take a breath and then try and have a polite conversation, educating about the stigma of drowning. Because drowning can happen to anyone. It happened to me. I luckily survived with the wetsuit, and it's a long story. The video is on our website about it. But we need to realize that 2/3 of drowning victims are good swimmers. Okay? And males account for 80% of all drowning deaths. 4 out of 5 drownings. It's a huge number, huge percentage when we look at it. And I'll talk about that more later. And this says make sure your son is learning to swim and survive, but I think it should say make sure everyone is learning to swim and survive. An emphasis on survival skills versus swimming. You know, swimming is very, very important. Anyone here know how to run? Everyone? We know how to run, right? Hopefully, you're good. I'm going to take a pit stop. But that doesn't mean I can run a marathon. I know how to run, but I don't know how to run a marathon. I don't know how to train for it, diet for it. I don't have the physical endurance for it. But people, I've had conversations inviting them to public presentations. Oh, I know how to swim. I don't have to worry about it. My kids know how to swim. They don't have to worry about it. But a drowning event is a marathon for one's life, and knowing how to survive it is not common sense. So the impacts of the stigma of drowning, it has a negative impact on funding, negative impact on education, and a negative impact on reaching the target audience. Okay. When we do public presentations, we usually have a low turnout. People don't know what they don't know. They don't know that it will be beneficial to them. It'd be like if I said, hey, I'm having this public presentation on how to put on a seatbelt. You'd all be like, I know how to put on a seatbelt. It wouldn't be like a huge draw for it. And unfortunately, water safety public presentation seems to get the same reaction. That's why we really focused on schools. Public presentations is a volunteer audience. School presentations is a captive audience. They're in school that day, they're seeing the presentation. And we have to educate and know that there's other stigmas. If I were to say I have colon cancer, you would probably have some sympathy for me, and you wouldn't ask me how I got it. But if I said I had lung cancer, what's the first question that pops in your head?
How much did you smoke?
How much did I smoke? Because that was the first thing I thought too when I was creating this presentation. But the reality is, according to the American Cancer Society, is that more people will die each year